it's important that you have diversified your investments across multiple asset classes, real estate, equity, gold, fixed income, and within those asset classes, within different products, and that then you can actually get the benefit of the volatility. Fifth thing that, and last thing, I think that investors who are sitting on cash, it's beneficial for them, because these volatile times also give you lots of opportunities. Okay, and therefore if you're sitting on cash, you can actually harness those opportunities. So keep yourself liquid. Don't lock yourself in too many long-term investments and investments which are going to be high risk and low returns kind of investments, and then wait for the right opportunities.
Raghvendra, of course, our environment is such of recession and unemployment worldwide that we are seeing right now. In an environment like that, most people become very risk averse. So if I were to ask you, in the current sort of situation that we are seeing, what is the best asset allocation or asset mix that you'd be advising investors and our viewers to do?
See, volatile times are volatile only for a while, and people need to realize that these volatilities cannot stay permanently. So bad times are followed by good times. So people need to actually look at their risk profiles, because when you're looking at wealth creation or wealth management, you are not talking about 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, you're talking about 10, 20 and 30 years. And when you're talking that long periods, I think people have to fix their asset allocations and go along with that. Because equity, for example, is very volatile now, but these are the best times to invest into equities. And or real estate on the other side, has had a long run, so probably a fixed income investment may play out better, and real estate could give an opportunity at some other point in time. So I think have a good balanced mix of assets, have a proper asset allocation, and then follow it religiously. And remain disciplined.
So how would you sort of spread the eggs across? Would it be 70% equity? Would it be, if you're a long-term investor who's got an average risk profile, a little risk averse, I'm guessing, because of the environment, how would you spread your eggs?
I think completely dependent on the risk, the person and his income profile and his goals. If the income profile is low, probably it's best to keep yourself conservative. If the income profile is high and the goals are also higher, then probably the investor need to take a few risks.
Right, that's of course advice coming in for our viewers. Whether or not you're wondering, you probably are a little too risk averse right now, given the sort of headlines that you see in the papers every day. It is volatile times, and of course it is difficult times as well, but of course like they say, it's only after sunset that you see sunrise, so make the best use of these times, and of course plan your finances and hope for the best, and eventually in the long term that would pay off for you. We'll take a break on that note, but when we come back we'll of course take up all your financial planning related queries with Raghvendra, so stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Financial Planner. It's now time to take up all your financial planning related queries. Raghvendra, we've got a fairly extensive financial planning query coming in from Nikhil Sharma. He's quite young, so it's impressive that he's starting early and thinking about his future. He's 26 years of age. He's got his parents, a younger brother and sister at home, so no real dependents. He's not married. And he's got a couple of his assets that he's highlighted for us. It's a self-owned home that he lives in. The loan details are as follows. And he's got quite a few loans. So he's got his education loan, where he's paying an interest rate of, paying an EMI of about 2,950. So he's got about 35,000 outstanding on that, which has to be paid over the next 5 years. His monthly household expense is about 6,000. His savings that he manages to do is as below. So he's got LIC, he's got recurring deposits, he's got, actually he doesn't have any recurring deposits, he's got no FD, no shares, no mutual fund, no PPF. All he has is an LIC policy that he's mentioned to us about. He's got no other assets. His monthly income in hand is about 25,000, so his expenses are 6,000, so he's got quite a bit of money that is saved up every month. In terms of his goals, he says in the next 2 years he has to arrange money to meet his marriage-related expenses. In the next 5 years he wants to buy a car, and he'd also like a home loan to buy another property, and hopefully a flat in Delhi is what he's looking at. Other than an education loan, he's got 2 big purchases from his credit card that he's repaying through an EMI, which is about 1,700 and 700 odd rupees. Current outstanding is about 49,000. So more or less he doesn't have too much debt on himself, not too much liability, but then again doesn't have too much money being, invested, I'd say, wisely either.
That's right. I think, this is a very typical profile of any young individual who has just started working. And his salary is around 25,000 and his expenses are around 13,000.
Right.
And obviously, because he has started just now, he doesn't have any savings to boast of. Obviously, he has plans to go buy a car and a house and his marriage. I think for such kind of people, it is important that they need to look at their immediate goals, because they just started working. They need to work on their immediate goals. His immediate goal is getting married, and he needs some money for that, and therefore he should save for that. And then he gets married, he should then plan a car, probably through a loan, and save a little down payment for that. And then think about, his buying a house. In his scenario, because he is earning only 25,000, and probably if he is living in a large city, any house that he looks for will be 30-40 lakh rupees. So he need to probably defer that decision to something like 7 or 8 years and start saving for it once he gets married. So a priority for him is obviously getting married, and so he should put his 12,000 rupees that he has after expenses, 70 to 80% of that money should go into fixed income investment. So probably a recurring deposit with a bank, some bit into, let's say, a debt mutual fund, a fixed income mutual fund, and maybe 1 or 2,000 rupees into some equity schemes. And once he gets married, he should the large allocation to fixed income will ensure that he has some corpus with him after 1.5 years when he gets married, and he'll be able to spend that money. Then he can, following the same approach, actually accumulate for the down payment of the car, and which can happen sometime next year, and then buy a car, and then start planning for his house through investment into equities. So I think it's because we are sitting in volatile times that we just discussed. I think he can start doing an SIP in equity and start increasing as his salary grows, because I'm sure since he's young and just started, his salary is in the initial years will grow rapidly. So as his salary grows, he should continue to invest more money into equities, through SIP, and that will provide that corpus, and after 7 years or 8 years to actually go for the house.
Raghvendra, he's got this credit card debt, which he's paying quite a large sort of sum of amount on.
Yeah.
Do you recommend that, of course, we call credit card debt as bad debt more often than not. Do you think it makes more sense to use that additional money that he's saving to sort of clear these debts? Or would it be okay to let go?
Because if they are EMIs, I think today he does. If he has an aspiration to buy something and he doesn't have money at hand, he'll have to actually go for credit card. My only advice is don't keep on growing this portion.
Just consolidate.
Just consolidate it, because credit card debts are extremely costly. I think 2.5% per month or something like that you have to pay. So I think it is better that you accumulate your savings and then go for the white goods purchases or anything that he wants to do.
Or maybe he could switch that to normal loan, because it's only 50,000 rupees. The quantum is not too much, but his salary is not too big. So that you'd advise him to consolidate that as well. Also, in terms of marriage, I'm just thinking marriage and I'm thinking gold. Do you think he should start acquiring any sort of gold? I mean, he's looking to get married.
I think typically he's a man, and then parents normally take up that responsibility, and I'm sure they would have already done some bit on that.
Nikhil, that's advice coming in for you. Look at fixed income, because that could be a better way of sort of accumulating wealth for the short term. You're looking to get married in about a year or so. So, of course, work towards that goal. The other goals, of course, can take up to a decade on to sort of build that corpus and acquire those assets that you really want to. But on the other hand, like Raghvendra said, consolidate your credit card debt. Try and avoid taking up any more debt on your credit cards, because remember, credit card debt is quite expensive, and it's not really the best or the most efficient way to go out there and sort of fund your expensive purchases. So keep those things in mind, and hopefully you should be able to fix your finances. We'll take a break on that note. We'll come back and continue taking your financial planning queries, so stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Financial Planner. Raghvendra, we've got a very small query coming from Bhanu Jadhav. He says he's investing in mutual funds through SIP, about 1,000 rupees per month, and he's doing that for the last 2 years. His current investments are BSL Mid-Cap Plan A growth option, BSL Dividend Yield Growth, BSL Tax Relief, and HDFC Top 200 Growth, Reliance Growth. He wants to know, should he continue investing in these funds or should he sort of rebalance his portfolio? He's only got about 1,000 rupees spread across quite a few of those mutual funds. He also has a daughter and he's planning well in advance. She's 4 months old, but he wants to plan for her education and her marriage as well. And he also does want to know whether or not it's safe to invest in mutual funds through an online portal. What are the pros and cons of doing that when you do it online? How safe is the internet?
Yeah. In case of Bhanu, I think he already has a well-diversified equity portfolio. The only thing I would suggest is maybe just make a little bit change. Instead of probably Birla Sun Life Tax Relief for 96, he can go for Birla Sun Life Mid-Cap Fund, which is a mid-cap oriented fund because he has mostly diversified funds otherwise. And in case of Reliance Growth, which is not doing too well, he can shift into Reliance Equity Opportunity, which is doing very well. So that will probably rebalance his portfolio as well as position it for higher returns in future. As far as his goal is concerned, I think it's very worthy that he's starting thinking of providing for his child's education as well as marriage. And because he's starting to plan very early, I think he doesn't need to invest too much money beginning now. I was just doing some basic back of the envelope calculation, and if he starts with around 7,000 to 8,000 rupees now every month and then increase it by 10% every year, he should be able to more than provide for both education as well as marriage over the next 20 as well as 25 years respectively. And at the end of 20 years, probably he'll have something like 70 lakh rupees for education and around 1.5 crore rupees for marriage after 25 years. So with just 7,000 rupees increasing by 10% every year, he should be able to meet this goal. And that 7,000 can be spread in these existing mutual funds that he's doing. So probably he can just invest more than what he's doing now to just provide for that two goals that he has. As far as last query is concerned about online portals, I think there are a lot of online portals which are now coming in and which are facilitating retail investors to participate in mutual funds. And most of them are using payment gateways of very reputed banks as well as companies. And therefore, as long as you are not paying to the portal directly, as long as you are actually, any purchase that you are making is going through a payment gateway and directly to the fund, you are safe. So the fund supermart that he talks about is perfectly safe from the front.
Right, Bhanu, that's the advice coming in for you from Raghvendra. Well, that's also the time we have on this edition of Financial Planner. Thanks for watching.